All right, well, happy Friday and welcome back to Staff Stories. If you don't know me, my name is Sarah and I get to be the Associate Director of Young Adult Ministries here at Calvary Community Church. And today I'm very excited because I have with me Michelle Toombs, who is the Executive Director of our worship here at Calvary. So welcome, Michelle. Thank you for being here.
It's really great to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad. It's fun. I feel like I don't always get to connect with you and see you because you're running around doing the most. But for those who don't really know you or maybe have only seen you leading worship on stage, can you tell us a little bit about what's been going on in the worship world and kind of what you have your hands in?
Oh, sure. It's really, really exciting because since COVID hit in March, when we started going online, we had to really accelerate a lot of things online, and we have an excellent team. It just seems like that everyone has their role and we all fit together and we're moving forward. So we do our online services inside, and we're doing that as the main church and then out on the patio on Sunday morning. So it was really, really cold. And it was.
You guys who braved it. Well done.
Yeah, well done if you were there. And then that's just to scratch the surface. To scratch the surface, we have young adults, we have elementary and middle school, and everything just seems to be going along really well and really excited about. We're currently producing a Christmas album,
which is so cool. Have we done that before?
We have not done it before, and again, the teamwork. There's so many amazingly talented people on this team, and we've all played a part in it. And we are actually mixing it in Nashville, which is really great. We won't be there. And we had an orchestral session that was so exciting and different because it was in Slovakia. And so I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not, I don't want any pity, but it was pretty early. And then I just went online and I saw this beautiful hall and people playing the orchestra. And then they had this Source Connect thing. And that's another good thing about COVID is that the internet, whatever it's called, technology has really advanced, and so I could hear everything beautifully. So it's all fitting together, and we're in the final process of that right now. So that's just been a whirlwind as well. And then we're doing a Christmas release party, which actually you suggested, which is a great suggestion. We're going to do that on December the 4th. We're going to get together and sing a few carols and have a few songs from the album and just celebrate what God has done as as music people and as people that want to gather together, socially distanced, of course, and then and sing Christmas carols like we usually do, but just have it outside and have some festive atmosphere. So it's great.
No, I love that. I think it's so exciting, and you know this, but we just brought on a new director of digital communications, Sarah Czerwinski, and she's been huge in ideating some of these things and getting them off the ground. And I think really, because we've had such incredible, like you said, talent and just space where God's presence has been, just honored, and we want to bring that to people. So it's fun to kind of dream within this season of COVID. Though I know it's been just a whirlwind for most people. Yeah. Which kind of leads into my first question, which is reflecting back on your experience so far. Because we're still kind of in it.
Yes.
What are 3 words you would use to describe this COVID season in your life?
I think I'm going to plagiarize.
Okay, that's
someone else.
Hey, I think it's
good. Gina Spivey, I believe, said refining, and for me that was refining. Can I choose 3 words for the next one?
It's allowed, yes. Nate chose 5, and I think Stephen did the same thing, so we'll let it pass.
Thank you. It's more of a little phrase. It's in the moment, being in the moment, and trusting in God. Trust would be the 3rd one.
Wow. Yeah. If you could unpack those, or maybe
Okay. So can I do the last one first?
Absolutely.
So in the moment, I'm a mom and a wife, and I have 3 kids. We have 3 kids, 12, 9, and 6, and just going through the distance learning and all of that sort of thing, and then having work on top of that. So my work and the worship team's work has been kind of elevated in terms of just output, I guess. Yeah. And so I've always got something on my mind, something to do with work, and I love my job. Yeah. And that's the thing. So, but my job is not my children. So I've just forced myself when my kids are saying, "Hey, Mom, can you look at this? Can you do that? Look at this TikTok I made." Instead of going, I'm doing something else over here, to really stop. Turn around and just focus on the moment and be in the moment, and be in the moment with a meal. If people are eating a meal in a different parts of the house, just to serve them and for them to, just to help out and to walk the dog with my son last night, and just was able to talk to him.
Little moments.
Yeah. So just and I'll look back on those and think they're really, really special. Yeah. So that was really good. And then well, that wasn't the last one, that was the second one. The trust.
Whatever order you want. This is your interview. I'll take us there.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm not very good at math. So
me neither. That's why I didn't correct you. I was like, yeah, that sounds right. I was like, I'm with you.
It's so funny. Okay, so the trust aspect, I think we've all really dealt with that.
Totally.
All different levels. I was talking to someone this morning who is going through a great time of financial blessing in this time.
Wow.
But we're all in it together in terms of being distant, and we all have different journeys. It's so crazy. So just being able to trust God, especially with the election and who's going to win, who's not going to win,
right?
All of the nuances and just all the unrest associated with that. And just I love how Pastor Sean kind of brought it home, saying that God is the King of the universe. So whatever happens in this country, God still reigns. He's still on the throne, and that really helped me just to focus my attention on Him. And it's been great. And just yesterday we were doing a worship video. So we do some videos outside with various worship leaders that are in our team. Yeah. And just being able to worship and focus on God and just trust in Him in that moment when someone was just leading me in worship outside and just being, so that was two combined in the moment, and trusting God too with that. So, and the refining too. I mean, I have had to, with all the stress and everything, but it's a good stress for me, but just the uncertainty, and we've all gone through it and going through it. Just being able to just control my temper inside, the frustration,
the patience, slowing down, taking a breath. Yes, absolutely.
And I kind of slipped up. I just got frustrated, and it came out, and I just had to call the person and apologize, and just refining that and just walking throughout life with the mantle of God on my shoulders, and instead of just stepping into worship, which I love, I think the worship is to go deeper, but life should be wearing the mantle of the Holy Spirit as we walk through life. So I'm trying, just trying to focus on doing that. And then I had a couple of verses also that covers all of these things, but one was that love covers a multitude of sins.
Yes.
And I never kind of really unpacked that in my own mind, and God really revealed to me, like, it's okay, you have grace, and your love, no matter what happens from this moment forward, loving your kids and all of that will just cover a lot, and you see the tension just dissipate in your family when you just work from a place of God's love. Yes. And there's nothing like it. No humanism, anything like that. We can tell ourselves mentally, okay, you need to respect me. But if you have the love of Christ in your life, that is more powerful, and it does cover. It's a covering over our lives and our community. So
absolutely. And it's sure. I love that. I love that imagery of just leaning into kind of like the first things first, and trusting, like, okay, God, in the uncertainty and in those places of trust, like, what can we trust? It's like the steadfast character of God, which I think does lead to a lot of refinement of like, oh my goodness, what things have I put in place? And kind of refinement. I get this picture of like almost like shearing of things off, or like a sharpening of an object, just so that whatever is excess doesn't get in the way of that process, which actually kind of leads into the next question, which is, from this, like, where in your life maybe have you seen areas of refinement yourself, or maybe personal victory or growth that you're thankful for from this season?
Okay, mine really practical. Struggled a lot throughout my life of just kind of pulling it together in terms of just life, just like doing laundry, all of that sort of thing, and just feeling like I've kind of being refined in that, and that is a small thing in itself if you just look at it.
Sure.
But on a larger scale, you can kind of, when you're more organized, you can be with your family and you can be just be present, which goes back to what we were talking about earlier. So just as a lot of us have probably cleaned out their garage.
Yes, never been so organized in my life, let me tell you.
So that has been really good, and just to enjoy making a meal, making coffee, and just having a bit more of a handle on it. And we got another dog during this time.
Oh my goodness! Wow, good for you.
So we got a Saint Bernard.
Oh my gosh!
That dog is massive.
Yes, they're so big. They're like just rescue dogs.
Talk about patience. That dog has taught me so much patience. And I'm still working on it.
Okay.
And my husband, bless him, he's really tried hard to work on it too. But just things like that.
Yeah.
I know seems like a small thing, but I think there's a lot of families out there and people that have, looked at their life and then just taken inventory and like, wow, I need to be more organized in this. And so I've grown, I think, in that area a bit more.
I love that. That's amazing. I feel you. I was reflecting on that as well of like, it seems small, but those are the things that usually get pushed to the back burner because we're just surviving. And we're like, my goodness, I have to get XYZ done. Yeah. But those habits that you're building now, like for all of us, like I'm like very hopeful to carry into the next season. And on kind of the other side of the coin, which I know we don't always love to talk about, but I think it's important to address like the disappointments in our life, especially, I mean, we've all found disruption in this season. We've seen like maybe a dream die or even put on hold, but what would you say is a place for you that's been maybe a personal place of disappointment?
Disappointment, I think, would be not for for myself in terms of I was planning on going back to Australia and seeing my family, but that country is very, very locked down, and if I were to go, I probably wouldn't be able to, I don't know the rules, but I would have to quarantine for 14 days, but by that time, Curtis Johnson would have me back here.
So be like, and time to get back on the plane and come back.
So that I wouldn't be able to see my friends and everything like that, and so that's been disappointing because my parents are there, my brother, my sister, all my nieces and nephews, cousins. So that's been disappointing. But other than that, I know I feel very fortunate because I've just kind of put my head down and just going. It's been a good season for me, but a hard season. Yeah. So that would be the only disappointing thing. But I really feel and hear other people that have gone through quite a lot. So losses of jobs, just feeling isolated, and I really pray for them. And people have lost loved ones too, and that's been very, very difficult. So.
And I think we talked about this, or anytime we really give a sermon on grief, because I know like the whole church, why we've experienced these intense seasons of communal grief even, and to reflect on, okay, God, am I in the season where I need to be ministered to, or are you in a position that you get to walk alongside people and be empathetic and say, you know what, or even sympathetic of like, I've been there, and like, let me out of my capacity to like comfort you. And then in this alternate seasons to say, I know how important it is to receive that and to own the things of like, my disappointment still is important to God, even if it is like, I can't go home or like, I can't see grandma at Christmas, which I know that's our story this year. Like, couldn't surprise Nana for her birthday. But knowing like, okay, God, I'm going to grieve that, but also be available. So I love that you make that delineation, because I think that's important in community.
Right. And you just brought that home. Thank you for that. But just to be, I feel like maybe God has placed me in this time with this situation to be of help to others, or just to comfort others and just be an encouragement. And because our team hasn't been able to meet very often or at all, to sing on the stage, but we have choir and things like that is coming back outside, and just to be an encouragement to people. And you mentioned some really hard seasons for YA, some tragedies that has kind of gone over into my area with people just kind of comforting people when they've lost people, and it's really hard, and you can't even imagine what they're feeling, but you can walk alongside them.
Absolutely. And I think that's a beautiful thing of being in communities like this, and we're thankful that, it just a reminder of like, it does affect people at all levels, and whether you're leading into worship or you're being led into worship. And so thank you for sharing that. And we say this often, but if you're in a season where you're feeling like, man, I need someone to walk alongside me, or I'm looking for counseling, or even just connect to a pastor, please connect to our minister on call. It's just a good on-ramp into resources. Yes. There's so many wonderful people at this church who care, and hopefully you have people in your life, but you could also call 818-991-8040. And we would love to connect you to some resources here in our care department. So just wanted to plug that because I know I'm an MOC, and I love, like, it's been so cool to see even just how our church has responded in this time. Yeah. But kind of moving on to our next question, we've talked a little bit about, okay, like what's been going on in us, what's going on in your heart. But I think something that you even touched on in the beginning was like your view of God. And I'm wondering, through this season, maybe what have you learned or even relearned about God during this COVID season?
I just, off the top of my head and in my heart, think that God is constant,
Yeah.
And then He, no matter what happens, I mean, we all want to know what's going to happen. We all want to know.
Yes.
We all want to know. 100%. Are we purple? Are we blue?
Where do we fall? Yeah, like what category are we in?
What category? What county?
Yes.
All of that sort of stuff, and that can be a bit stressful. But God is constant.
Yes.
He is gracious.
Yes.
He is loving. He is enormous.
Yes.
And He is just. He gives us peace.
Yes.
And peace in our own hearts, and that peace enables us to minister to our community and just to be with people. I've got friends that are Christian, non-Christian, and just that's what I've learned about God, that He is there, and talking about the mantle of God. And I feel like this season has been more distractions for me because of work and everything, odd times and all that. Yeah. We don't just have a meeting here. Yeah. It's like people coming from different directions and all of that, and just knowing that God is in it. And I feel like the distractions, He has made space to be God in my life, and I've made that space for Him, and I'm learning the refining aspect of making that space and just clearing that all out, clearing the clutter, the clutter. Yes. I guess it's like symbolic with the garage cleaning and all.
Absolutely. No, and sometimes we have to do things in the physical that lead our hearts, and it can be like, what does cleaning my garage have to do? Yes. But it can be indicative of, wow, okay, I'm in this thought space, and how much more in our spiritual lives.
Yes, for sure. So for me, that is, and then that is also, it's taught me, but it's also a reminder of how I met God when I was 4 years old, that completely childlike faith, and just getting back to that day after day, and not steering from that, or if I do, then just to get back to, wow, that doesn't mean anything compared to what God means to me. Nothing really takes the place of the love of Christ, and I say that with all certainty in my life.
Yeah. Amen. Michelle, that's a good word. Okay, Pastor Michelle. Okay. No, I love it. And that's what I think these times are so encouraging, because God is so dynamic, and the giftings, even just the way you've been able to articulate your walk, like, is just that piece. Like when you're saying God is enormous, it's like, that's why being with His people is so good. Yes. And why, like, even just coming into a time of worship with His people, because you get to see almost like the surface of a diamond when it hits the sun, like all these facets. So I love to see what He's doing through you too. So, okay, the last thing is kind of a summary question. So you like bring it home. But of the rhythms that you've seen or habits that you've implemented in this season, what would you most look forward to continuing in a post-COVID world? Say things pick up, say there's some sort of normalcy again. What do you not want to lose from this time?
Oh, I think it would just be the more organizational structure of a life, and just being present and being organized. So that way you can spend time with your family. You can do all the activities that you need to do. And so that would be what I would want to take forward, and just to embrace those things that don't really excite me to do.
Yes.
So you know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
Like, do it for the Lord, to honor Him, you know, and then He will lift us up, and as we humble ourselves and we clean the toilets.
Yes. Amen. As we actually do our laundry throughout the week instead of all at once when your other roommates also need the dryer. Like, I feel that. Yes.
Yeah.
But no, God is so, like, he's faithful to us always, but he's like, all right, being faithful in the little or the quiet or the secret place it's so vital.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's you know, it's that overflow.
Yeah, so I was going to say also too, I'm kind of a work person and a home person. They don't really mesh. But now, like, the habits I have at work are kind of, hopefully, I hope my husband's doing the same thing, but they're kind of meshing a little bit more. Because I know, you know, with the meetings that we have for the series and the sermons I know you do for YA, there's a lot of planning, a lot of details. It's zoom in, zoom out.
Yes.
And I just want to be able to pivot and do that at home as well. So
I love that.
Yeah, so I hope that encourages other people who are listening and watching.
I think so. I think it's good to know, because I'm sure, I feel this way. Like, you look at people, especially like you, are like, oh, she's all together. She's beautiful. She leads so beautifully. And I like to be like, we are real people too, you know, everybody struggles a little bit with like, we don't really, there's things around the house we don't like to do. There's things in our hearts we don't like to look at. Yeah. So no, thank you for sharing, Michelle. This has been, I'm encouraged. So
am I, Sarah.
You encouraged one person and I'm sure many more to come.
I hope so. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And guys, we will see you next week for our final staff stories. We've loved spending this time with you, and we hope you guys have a wonderful holiday.